Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So I want to say it's been like a solid 6 to 7 months since I have purchased a Kylie Cosmetics product. So I want to say the last time I purchased a Kylie Cosmetics product, it was probably about May or June. And I want to say that was kind of around the second launch time of her Royal Peach palette. And I bought the Royal Peach palette because I really wanted a palette with a bunch of peachy shades in it. But I'm not really the biggest fan of Too Faced shadows, and so I didn't want to spend my money on the Too Faced palette. But I also really wanted to try the Kylie shadows because I have not yet tried those. So I went ahead and purchased that palette, which I honestly think was kind of a good purchase. Like, I don't dislike that palette, and that's honestly not a bad palette. I find myself reaching for it time to time if I want a warmer, peachier toned look. And I thought about buying the burgundy palette, and I thought about buying the purple palette, and I just didn't because I felt like I had too many shadows that looked like those shadows, so I just kind of held off. But when I saw the blue honey palette, I went ahead and got this one because I really like this color combination together. I really like teals, coppers, and yellows, and I don't have enough of those in my collection to tell myself to stop spending money on them yet. I will say though, when I got this in the mail and saw these colors in person, the first thing I thought of was the ColourPop Dream Street palette and how these are very similar palettes. And before anybody comes for me, I know that Manny MUA did a video already kind of comparing the two. I haven't seen it, so I have no idea what conclusion he came to or anything he said. I just know that the thumbnail has him holding both of these up. So just wanted to cover that base real quick. So you can clearly tell from today's tutorial, we're going to be playing with the new Kylie Jenner Blue Honey palette. And at the end of the video, I will let you know what I think of this compared to the ColourPop Dream Street palette. I've not tried the palette yet, so I have absolutely no idea how it performs next to the ColourPop palette. Alright guys, real quick, if you like this video and you want to like and subscribe, that would be super, super awesome and appreciated. Alright guys, let's go ahead and jump into this look. So I went ahead and primed, but I want to real quick tell you what I've been doing for primer because it's a little bit new. Pixi Beauty recently sent me their Rose Flash Balm, which is their 3-in-1 moisturizer, primer, and mask. And it has a really nice balm kind of texture to it where it is kind of thick, but it does not feel heavy on your face. It leaves my face feeling really smooth, like it gives it a really nice canvas for my foundation, and I love it. And I have been mixing that with my Becca Backlight priming filter, and together these have been great underneath my foundation. So I would definitely pick this up if you're at Target or something. I know Target carries Pixi. I haven't tried a lot of their makeup out, but I really love their skincare stuff, so this definitely comes highly recommended from me. And I did wear this all day the other day, and my foundation held up really, really well with it. So 2 thumbs up. So moving on to foundation, I'm going to take my NARS Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation in the shade Vienna, and I'm going to take a few pumps of that on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to apply that with a beauty blender. I know I apply my foundations with a brush pretty often, but I honestly prefer applying with a beauty blender. I think it gives a nicer finish. And for concealer, I'm going to use my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. And as usual, I'm focusing that on the inner corner of my eye because my eyes have been super dark. I feel like they're just always going to be dark. I don't know what my problem is. Putting some of that on my forehead and on my nose and on my chin, as always. And with the same beauty blender that I applied my foundation with, I'm just going to blend that all out. I feel like y'all have to know my routine by heart right now, but I'm going to go ahead and set my face with my MAC Cosmetics and Patrick Star Patrick's Powder. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my beauty blender for everything today, and I am taking my damp beauty blender in that powder and setting my under eyes and everywhere I put my concealer down with it. I have yet to find another under eye powder that makes my eyes look so non-crazy and non-cakey. It's pretty awesome. And I'm just taking that damp sponge and pressing the powder into my skin. I changed my mind. We're just going to set everywhere today. I'm going to apply my brows off camera real quick and I will be right back. So I'm going to try a little trick that I saw on Jaclyn Hill's channel, and I am going to take some powder and stamp that in my outer V area. Just kind of as a guideline. Then also too, this look might have some fallout, so if I can prevent that, that'd be cool. And since these shades are very similar, I'm going to try my best not to make it look too much like the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop look that I did. But to start off, I'm going to take this yellow shade right here. And this is a first impressions video. I have not tried this palette yet, but there is not a whole lot of kickback with that shadow, which is really nice. And I am going to work that in my crease. Alright, so my first thoughts about this yellow. This is a really, really pretty yellow, and it's applying really well. I really like mustardy yellows, and this is a really nice mustard colored yellow. And I have no complaints about the way it's applying or blending. So far, shade 1, blending really well, little to no kickback. That's definitely a good start if I do say so myself. I really hope that this look turns out really well and I really like this palette, but that I'm not feeling the urge to buy the other palettes because I like this one so much, because I can't afford that right now. And for my transition shade, I'm going to go in with this orangey brown color. This shade has a little bit more kickback, but it isn't bad at all. And I'm going to work that in the same places I put that yellow, but just a little bit lower. And again, this is applying really, really well. These colors blend together very nicely. I'm going to kind of flick that shade out at the outer V just a little bit and keep blending. And I'm kind of going in packing motions, and I pack that on my outer V and then blend out. I'm taking a little bit of that in the inner part of my eye and very, very softly bringing that into my inner corner. And I'm just going to blend back over that real quick just to blend those two together a little bit better. So I'm apparently the least observant person ever, and I didn't realize that all of the names for these shadows are written on the back. You can't see that because it's so reflective. But so the two shadows that I've used so far, the yellow shade is called Sweet Like Honey, and the second shade is called Busy Bee. Just so we're clear about that. So for my lid, I'm going to take this shade right here called Bumble, and I'm just taking a damp brush and packing that on to the inner 2/3 of my lid. And this is a really, really pretty gold. I think with a brush, it doesn't pack the kind of punch that I wish it would, but it's really, like, once it's applied to your lid, it's really nice. I'm going to take a little bit on my finger and see if I like that better. Yes, I do. I do like that better. That applies really pretty with your finger. Alright, so now I'm going to take this shade right here called Sweet Thing, and I am going to put that on the outer third of my lid. And I am going to apply that with my finger and just blend that into that gold a little bit and bring that all the way across. I covered up too much of that gold, so I'm going to take a little bit more and pop that right back on, just to bring that back a little bit. To deepen up my outer corner, I'm going to take this shade right here called Honeymoon, and I'm just packing that on my outer corner and just blending it into that area. I'm not dragging this all the way across. And I'm going to go back in with a little bit of a smaller brush to pack that on. And I'm going to very, very softly blend that out with some of that Busy Bee shade. And to soften that even more, I'm taking a little bit of that Sweet Like Honey and bringing that yellow back and also blending that out. So far, I am incredibly pleasantly surprised with this palette. Like, I didn't really know what to expect because I've only used one Kylie shadow palette, but this is really doing nicely for me. Like, the blues may not be everybody's cup of tea, but like the really warm like yellows and browns and golds and coppers, this could be a really nice travel palette just if you wanted a couple of eyeshadows and you're gonna leave for a few days. And I like a deeper outer corner area, so I'm just deepening that up just a tiny bit more. I feel like I'm never satisfied. I'm just gonna go back in a few more times with that yellow, just drag it out a little bit and make that nice and soft. I don't really like how defined that edge is, so I'm just taking this big fluffy brush and kind of just softening that up a little bit. I know this is going to seem kind of counterproductive to what I just did, but I'm taking some translucent powder on this flat Smith brush and going over right there. And then with a clean fluffy brush, I'm just dusting that away. I didn't like how defined I originally had it, but then it was a little too blended, so just had to fix that up just a little bit. I feel like the stars of the show in this palette are these two blue shades right here. And this one in the center is called Blue Honey, and this one right here is called Royal Jelly. I am going to take some of that Blue Jelly shade, which is the metallic one, and run that along my lower lash line. I'm going to take a little bit of a smaller brush for this. I'm really trying to make sure I get this as close to my lash line as possible and not get too crazy and drag it all the way down, because I definitely tend to get a little too heavy-handed with my lower lash line and then ultimately regret it. So, trying to be careful. And that blue had a little bit of fallout, but it wasn't a bad amount of fallout. I wasn't concerned about it getting into my foundation, and it brushed off really easy. And for my inner corner, I'm going to take this shade right here called Buzz Off, and I am just popping that right in my inner corner for a highlight. And for my waterline to match the blue, I am taking the Makeup Forever Aqua XL pencil in S20 and applying that to my waterline. I'm going to finish my other eye real quick and pop some lashes on, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm going to finish up the rest of my face, and to do that, I'm going to start with my contour, and as usual, I'm going to take my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette in the shades Sombre and Shadow Play. I feel like lately my contour has been kind of moving upwards, which I'm not really mad about. When I'm looking straight ahead, I feel like my face is super round. So having a higher up contour makes me kind of feel like my face is less round, which I really like. And I'm just taking this fluffy brush and buffing it around my contour a little bit just to make the contour a little bit softer. And for my highlight, I'm taking one of my new favorite highlighters, and this is Flexitarian from ColourPop. All you really need to do for this highlight is dip your finger into the pan and just pat on where you want the highlight, and it is so pretty. If I'm not going for a more natural highlight, this is definitely the kind of highlight that I really like. And what's nice about this highlight too is it has that ColourPop Super Shock Shadow consistency, so it's kind of like that putty that's really, really smooth to the touch. So it really blends out effortlessly over your skin. And for blush, I'm going to use the Jouer Blush Bouquet Duo in Adore Me, and it is the more nudish peachy tone blush duo. And for this, I'm going to start with a lighter shade and kind of follow the top of my contour. And then I'm going to take this deeper shade, which really isn't a whole lot deeper, and I'm going to lightly just go over top of that, but right under it. For this look, I really feel like it's only right to use a Kylie lipstick, so I'm going to bring it back to an OG Kylie Lip Kit lipstick in Candy K. Alright guys, this is the finished look. Nothing super complicated, but to be honest, this palette does not really allow for a whole lot of drama. So I have a couple Kylie lipsticks. I've got Candy K, Court K, True Brown K, and whatever the hell the orange one was. And I know the lip kits kind of have mixed reviews, as they should. Some of them are not that great, some of them are pretty good. I personally do like Candy K. This is one that I do wear out every now and again. These colors don't get too dark, so I definitely think that they're more ideal for like a daytime look going into evening, or maybe a soft evening look. So my overall opinion of this palette, I am really, really pleasantly surprised. Do you absolutely 100% need this palette? No, you definitely don't. However, this is definitely a good palette if you're trying to grab something on the way out that you just need for like the weekend, because you can do a couple of pretty versatile looks with this. You really can't do a whole lot of crazy looks with this, but if you need a palette that's quick and easy, I think that this is a good purchase. If you're willing to spend $32 on this, I don't think it's a bad buy. Real quick, I do want to give my 2 cents on the Kylie palette versus the ColourPop and Kathleen Lights palette. The Kylie palette did not give me anywhere near the amount of fallout and kickback that the ColourPop palette did. With that being said, I think that the ColourPop palette is worth the $15 that you spend on it. For $15, there is definitely more color variety in this, and the shadows do pack a punch. However, you do have to be a little bit more careful with them because there is fallout and kickback. I'm honestly not really sure if I can tell you which one to buy over the other, because I think I would use these two palettes for two very different things. This is the kind of palette I'd like to create more colorful looks with. On the other hand, this is the kind of palette I would probably travel with and use for quick and easy looks. The ColourPop palette, you definitely have the potential to be more creative and colorful with it. The Kylie palette, not nearly as much. However, you can create some really nice glam without a whole lot of shadow. So that is just my 2 cents on the ColourPop palette versus the Kylie palette. There are a few shades that are very, very similar. However, most of them are different enough that it doesn't bother me all that much. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't believe that January is almost over. That's absolutely crazy to me. On the bright side though, I have already filmed more in the first month of the year than I did in the first 4 months of my YouTube career, so that's cool. Alright guys, that is it from me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.